In this chapter, we'll write our first Java program and see various ways by which we can run them. We'll introduce some of the keywords used in creating a class. So let's jump straight to write our first Java program. We'll be using STS, but you can use any other IDE such as Eclipse or IntelliJ. So I already created the project structure. So the project name itself is quedx.course1, and within that we have different packages which we have kind of segregated by chapter. So we creating a class first. So we have created our first Java program. We'll be talking about each of the keywords here. So in order to run this, right click, run as Java application. It will show you the output. Let's try to understand the different keywords that are used here. The first one, public, what it tells is that this particular class can be used by any other class within the same package or any other package. The package itself is defined by here. So what it means is our class belongs to this particular package. The keyword class tells that this is a class that we are defining. It only has one static method. What we mean by static here is that we'll be able to call this method, the main method, without needing to create an instance of this class or without needing to create an object. So by default, if you want JVM to execute any program, the JVM will look for main method, and it has to be a static void method, and of course it has to be public. So when we call this function, you can see the string that is being passed is printed to its console. What you want to note is as soon as you save this, the STS ID will automatically build it for you. If you want to disable that, you can go to project and uncheck the build automatically. So that way you can, if you uncheck this, you can use Control B to build it. So this is one way to build it. Let's recap what we have done so far. Your file name must always match the class name. JVM always looks for the function name main in order for it to execute it. Public implies this method is accessible to the outside world. Class implies that we are defining a class. Static implies that we don't need an object to call this method. So as you recollect, the main was defined as public static. There is a reason JVM was able to call it without creating an object of my first program. After that, the curly braces, within that basically is the body of our class, where we can define members. As I mentioned, there are two ways to compile this. Either you let the IDE compile it for you, or you can do it from command line as well, in which case you need to run this command, java compiler -d, which is directory, and you're saying dot, which is the current directory, and the name of the program. As soon as you are able to compile, it will create dot class. Now you can run this using the below command, java -class path dot. Then you have to give the entire package name. So in our case, it was quedx.course1.chapter1.my first program. As soon as you run this, it will generate hello world. That is the string that was passed to println function. The name of the class has to match the file name. Let's see what happens if I break this rule. So if I say 1, you'll see that it shows me a red wiggly, so which means Java is giving compilation error saying that my class name doesn't match the file name. So either you have to go and rename your file. You can do that by just doing this, or you get rid of the one. So you just revert back changes.